do anything.
for me.
I want you to be on time. What it requires for you to be on time, I want you to do that. And in the off chance that you are not on time, because I've been late before, I want you to get on here and say, I apologize. My bad. I don't want to hear no story.
I apologize on behalf of Alabaster for being a terrible teammate and coach.
Blaming.
I feel so sorry that we are victims of his.
That's why I'm the quarterback of this because I know how to step up to the podium and take responsibility. I'm sorry, Alabaster, that a team is turning on you. What's your question?
Thank you. I appreciate that, my good friend Domonique Foxworth. The question I have for you, do you see the Suns as title favorites with Kevin Durant? Domonique?
Yes, I do see the Suns as title favorites with Kevin Durant. The combination of him and healthy Devin Booker, assuming that DeAndre Ayton is not going to let his feelings inhibit him from playing to the best of his ability.
Just playing in a game, like the time he got benched in a game in the playoffs.
Yeah, on the scale of NBA drama, that's minor. It's minor. A little bit. I guess it's just a little riff. So I guess I feel like because the West is so wide open, the question that comes to my mind is who am I disrespecting by saying that I now see the Suns as a title favorite? And the answer to that is obviously the Nuggets, right? Like that's the Nuggets, or I guess you could argue the Warriors, but we have not. The Warriors need to package up all their quarters and get them $1.
Well, the Warriors we respect to the degree that we would even worry about whether respecting them or not, which is too much respect. I think it's very possible that they're going to be in the finals. I still have them as the team that I most expect. But I believe that the stakes for the Suns now are that if they don't make the finals and win the title, this is a failure. Like, they traded away so much. Domonique, they traded away 4 unprotected first-round picks. They traded away Mikal Bridges, who is an all-star level player.
Right.
Maybe he'll never make an all-star team because it's so stacked at wing, but the guy's a defensive player of the year candidate who's averaging like 18 a game. He's really good. He's young. He's improving. Cam Johnson's another guy who's a defensive player of the year candidate. I really like him. And Jay Crowder became some stuff too. But the point is, this is a Western Conference that you just alluded to that had, before this deadline, the Nuggets and then 13 teams that were divided by like 8 games and then 2 god-awful teams.
Yeah.
And what the Suns are now is the favorite.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So, like, the Jay Crowder situation, they didn't lose anything by sending him away because he wasn't even playing. The other names, I do agree you're losing something, but you made the case. So what are you saving those picks for? They already got really close and fell apart in the finals. And I think, honestly, most of us already thought that maybe their best chance has passed. They've extended this window. And yes, they had to sell some of the future to extend this window. But we know how difficult it is to get close. And we haven't mentioned TJ Warren's name, who is a useful piece to bring in. He's not just
he'll play.
Yeah, he's not just something that you throw in to make the contracts work. It's like he'll be a starter, I think. That's what they're projecting, and he'll play significant minutes, and it'll matter. But I guess my point is, in basketball especially, football is a little different where you're building a roster, and those draft picks, I think, have a lot more value. I feel like when you're close, you got to take every chance you can and go all in. And if you're selling on 3 drafts, or 4 drafts in this case, and giving away talented players, the question is, when you are within your window, did the move that you make significantly improve your chances of winning the title? And I think it's very obvious that they went from afterthought to front runner, assuming this all works out.
No, it's a home run. It's a home run deal. It's just a home run deal that has stakes. Like, you just got to nail it.
Don't they all, though?
But hold on, though, because when you make it, I think 2 things are true. It is a deal that everyone would have made if you abide by the logic you just presented, which is the right logic to run your team by. There's a window. We're a superstar away, a top 10, 15 scorer / player of all time away in Kevin Durant. Of course you do the deal. He has 4 years left on his contract. This is, to me, of course, a hands down move that is a smart one. But if they don't deliver on it, then you're the Brooklyn Nets in a sense, like you're just, and look, is a big difference here, actually, now that I bring this up, because what this is not is a creation by Kevin Durant. This is not a team that he needs to lead. This is a lot more in his comfort zone, Domonique. As in, he is a great scorer who does not need to worry about anything else other than being the best complementary piece in NBA history.
Yeah.
That is his mandate now. Go be that guy.
Yeah, he's not going to be a complimentary piece. I mean, I guess emotionally or leadership-wise, maybe you could argue he'd be a complimentary piece. When Kevin Durant shows up, he's the bus driver, no matter what Charles Barkley has to say about it. He was the bus driver on those Warriors team. By that, I mean he immediately becomes the best player and the player who you build everything around. The thing that matters, don't put that card back. The thing that Alabaster put up there on that card that I think is valuable and important is not that card, the other card that talks about how Kevin Durant is 34 and coming off of a knee injury, and Chris Paul is 37 and missed 21 games so far this year. That's the real risk to me. Is I think Durant has 3 more years on his contract. He's not going to get healthier. He's not going to get better. Even though right now, when he is playing, he's as good as anyone in the league and as impactful as anyone in the league. This does feel like, even though you have, I think, 3 more years for Durant, this feels like you got to win. 4 more years on a contract for Durant. It feels like these next 2 years are the years that you got to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe he'll be LeBron-ish and continue to be outstanding as you go forward. But as you see, LeBron needs more help than he did when he was playing at his peak.
For the podcast audience, the sun is literally setting on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more sunlight remaining than Chris Paul has on his NBA career. It's true. That's it. That's the concern, right? Is that this is a big 3 that's not a big 3.
How good
it's a tremendous 2.
So I have to be completely transparent. Like, my basketball watching is not at its height right now. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl, and after this, I'll dive deeply. But how good is Chris Paul right now is the question, because we put his name in these big 3 conversations, and his face is in all the big 3 pictures. And I remember last year's playoffs and the playoffs the year before that. And while he did have these wild or these crazy kind of historic moments, it was harder for him to perpetually put up those types of things. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of value they can get out of Chris Paul, because he's obviously a big 3 in this situation, but can he be a big 3 on the floor?
Alabaster, you can jump in, but I think he's washed.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a lot better since coming back from injury, but one of the indicators with Chris Paul is the fact that despite the limitations with his height, he's been one of the great 2-point shooters of all time for a small guard because of his mid-range and finishing ability. That volume and efficiency in that range is gone from his game, and that changes everything. That makes him actually a complementary role player with an incredibly high IQ and not a third superstar, in my opinion.
But all of that is to say that none of that changes the calculation to me about how likely they are to win the title and whether they should or shouldn't. I think, and look, depth is going to be a problem. DeAndre Ayton, which is very funny to me that he's the one guy who's like, please get me the hell out of here. And 1 million players got traded from his team to others. And it's like, no, you and Monty Williams are going to have to work this out because they're going to need him, man. The depth on this team. Look, the concerns to me are Chris Paul and depth. And they're just in a at some point we'll talk about parity, I'm sure, in this show across all sports. But to me, this is a wide open lane, uniquely wide open to go face the Bucks in the finals and go beat them because you got Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah, that's beating the Bucks or the, dare I say, 76ers.
Say it.
Or more likely, the Celtics is a whole nother hill to climb. If I'm the Suns right now, let's get out of the West, baby. Get out of the West, because that East seems scarier, especially given their lack of depth. And the age, the miles that you're going to have to put on Kevin Durant more than Chris Paul, but Chris Paul also, to get to that point, is going to be challenging. All right.
Yeah, Kevin Durant also not playing basketball yet. So we're doing the thing that we always do where it's like presuming he's going to be exactly the same as he was before he injured his leg, which has been mostly exactly what we got.
Yeah,
but
it's fair until it's not anymore.
until it's not. And at which point, maybe I'll feel bad for calling a non-finals run a failure. But until then, I remain righteously indignant.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's right. I by the way, progress to both of us, Pablo, for not arguing with Domonique when he said that Kevin Durant was the bus driver in Golden State.
He was.
I don't know about that.
I mean, bus driver is a stupid thing anyway, but he was the best player on those teams and the most important
I
player
don't know
on any
about
of those
that.
teams.
He was one of those kids you give like a fake steering wheel to when you're in the car, so they think that they're driving.
That's right.
But you're really not driving.
Okay.
How do you guys view the Lakers' new roster?
Ooh. I like we were like, you know what? The Nets have a whole new team. Them Laker talk. The Lakers should be a playoff team. Like the pieces they added actually do make basketball sense. And I make a lot of fun of the Lakers front office, and we all should. But when you go down the list, it's like, okay, what do they need? They need shooting. D'Angelo Russell, a top 5 3-point shooter at that volume in the league. Malik Beasley, one of the best shooting guards from distance in the league right now. They only gave up 1 pick. They got rid of Russell Westbrook. They got guys, man. And I think they're the guys they need. And yes, Jared Vanderbilt, who I just neglected to mention there, yeah, he's a really good defender at the wing position. So all of this is good news for a team that, yeah, Domonique, they should be one of the 8 to 10 teams out of 16.
Yeah.
Sorry, out of 15 to make the postseason.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, they should be, but we'll see because they haven't been able to put it all together. Like, I feel like they should be better than their record shows right now. So assuming that they'll sort it out with a young head coach or inexperienced head coach, but I guess like LeBron's IQ can compensate for anyone's inexperience. But I don't know. I don't want to get too excited about anything that the Lakers are going to do. I would like to see LeBron in the postseason and AD healthy in the postseason. As you guys know, they're scary. Everyone knows it. You have to accept it, despite the fact that you guys gave me a hard time about it last year, but we're selling it last week.
We were and we are, and this is it. I think, Alabaster, tell me if you think this is simplistic, but when Domonique is making that joke, it really all does hinge on whether Anthony Davis is the version of Anthony Davis that we do not trust to be anymore.
That's exactly
like
right.
that. Like this team should be an easy top 8 team in a 15-team conference with just LeBron and Anthony Davis, and yet they're not. And that feels like an Anthony Davis problem, obviously, given they just scored 13 points in that
lost
party that was
OKC.
thrown. Yeah, that losing party against OKC.
The one thing that's interesting about this also is obviously Davis, for the stretch he played healthy this season, was a vastly different player than he was last season on reports where he was heavier and trying to be a bulky center. And this year he was dominant again. But Davis still is not shooting the ball the way he did in the bubble. And he might be the person who's more affected by these shooters than anyone. This is someone who needs space to operate and pressure the rim. And that is now a possibility.
You said he's not shooting like he was in the bubble. He didn't shoot like that before or after. Like the bubble was the aberration. Assuming that he's ever going to get back to that, I think is unlikely.
Idea. The Lakers at Crypto.com Arena should clear out the stands behind the basket. Give him his shooter's depth. Give him his comfort zone.
Oh, gosh.
Isn't some billionaire around to just buy up all those seats? How much do you care about the Lakers, rich people of Los Angeles? Give Anthony Davis back his shooting background.
That's a tremendous idea. I love that so much.
It's legitimately solutions oriented.
Well done.
All right.
Do you have another? Topic.
I thought we just did NBA trades. What's left?
I just want to ask you. You can poo-poo this one, throw it away. But did any other trades move the needle for you at this deadline?
Poo-poo.
Oh no, I think I'm gonna unpoo-poo Domonique's poo-poo because I think the Nets are still an interesting team, man. Like there's a lot, and look, there's a lot to criticize in that story, and I'm not gonna just play the hits on that, but I'll just point out this Cam Thomas thing, in which he scores 40 points a game every night, around him is the ideal setup. And this was true when it was Kevin Durant. Now it's suddenly true of Cam Thomas. But
I wish I could see Alabaster's face during this.
What? Oh, wait. Alabaster, come in here. You don't think that the Nets are a playoff team still? You don't think that they're full of like the best defensive depth, arguably, in the NBA and guys who can shoot threes everywhere? What don't you like about this?
I mean, what I don't like about that roster is they have the highest paid ninth man in league history in Ben Simmons.
Oh,
But
I walked in.
but no. I mean, look. The thing that's interesting about the Nets is Cam Thomas. There is some insanity to this. 3 straight 40-point games is crazy and something that's really interesting. And putting a litany of 3-and-D wings around him and letting him cook is fun for the rest of the season. And the Rockets have their pick anyway, and they're going to be first in the lottery.
Yep.
So even if they drop out and they end up with the 5th pick in the draft, they'll get to keep the pick anyway because the Rockets are going to have the best odds.
You guys know we got the Super Bowl to talk about. We
All right,
talked about
fine.
2 big important trades, and y'all want to talk about the Nets making
Oh,
a
how
run?
about
Poo.
how
Poo-poo.
about the? I just also love that John Wall's back in Houston.
Poo.
Gary
you
Payton
wanna
in the
talk
second.
about-
Gary Payton in the second.
You want to talk
Back
about
in
Mo
Golden
Bamba?
State.
One thing on John Wall, is he going to be the first dude ever bought out by the same team twice?
Poo.
Ooh.
So there's this team. They have a quarterback named Patrick Mahomes, and the other team has a quarterback named Jalen Hurts, and they're playing in a kind of important game on Sunday. I'd like to talk about that and not poo.
The only man I know who attended one of Russell Wilson's weddings is back, Domonique.
That's a terrible intro. I don't think that's something that you. I mean, fair. I'm sorry. Good job.
I mean, there
Nate.
are
That's good.
superlatives to offer Nate. Like he's one
Yeah.
of the best NFL analysts, works for The Athletic, an excellent podcast host, but mostly he's a guy who, actually, you know what? He also got named because of a hot dog. That's
Yes,
the other biographical fact. Mike Tice named his son after a hot dog.
he did. Nathan's hot dog. I love the canon of this show, like because that's what it is. It's just
Yeah, this
it's
is
the
the lore.
callbacks to episode 1. This is great. This is just good writing. This is really good. Even callbacks to before I was born. This is a long running show. It's like referencing the Simpsons, referencing something from season 1, or like when they're making the Principal Skinner, like the fake Principal Skinner. Remember that? So that's the callbacks that we have for this. Is Nathan's hot dogs, and I had shrimp cocktail at Russell Wilson's wedding 10 years ago.
Yummy.
A little champagne with the strawberry in it as well.
Oh,
which was
classy.
that was pretty classy, pretty nice.
I
Actually.
hope you
I'll say
watched
that.
out because I bet it was spicy.
Oh God.
Still Alabama.
Was it?
Oh,
Was it
I
dangerous?
That was good. Probably, that really made me laugh. Well done.
I know it did.
So my question, who do you think the better team is in the Super Bowl? And who do you think is going to win?
So the line, I'll set it up like this, right? Vegas says, and we can put caveats as to why Vegas does anything, as Domonique always does when I say Vegas says, but the Eagles are favored in this game by 1.5.
Yeah.
And so does that feel right? Is that something that we should unpack, or do you have takes that are deeper based on the tape that you watched?
I mean, I'm going to respect Alabaster's question, and I think it's obvious that the Eagles, like as a full team, are a better and more complete team, and I appreciate him giving me both options because I refuse to root against Patrick Mahomes. I want Patrick Mahomes to win, and when the game is close and I have an option, I will not learn from the mistake of the Buccaneers Super Bowl. I will stick with Patrick Mahomes in part because what we just did the last 2 weeks, we got a Tom Brady retirement, and that was awesome and fun to reminisce about all of the football history and all of the greatness. And then the following week, we got a LeBron James historic record breaking, and it just reminded me that what are we here for other than greatness? No one cares about parity. Like, that's stupid. I want guys to do incredible stuff so that 15 years from now, I can tell my grandkids, hopefully it's a lot longer than that. Actually, my oldest is 12, so it's possible. I'm like, hey, little grandbaby, looky here. Even though you aren't crawling yet, hopefully. Patrick Mahomes was incredible. And let me tell you about what he did. He won a Super Bowl, then he lost a Super Bowl, then he won a Super Bowl, and then he won 6 more, and it was incredible.
Nate,
I like
our
that.
timeline, our lore, canon extends not just into the past, but clearly into the future.
I like this. Just like, hey, we're going all the way back to the late 80s. Let's go to what? Would that be 20, 37
let's
or
be careful.
so?
Let's be careful about how far back we go. I don't know.
Okay. But no,
Just-
I like this. I'm with you. I'm with Domonique here. It's hard to cheer against Patrick Mahomes and witnessing greatness. I've always wished that I got to see Michael Jordan live in the flesh, playing and all that. Even if it was with the Wizards, I wish I got to see that. But I think that's what it is. That's why we're here. We're here to appreciate the greatness. Yes, the Eagles have a great team. So I was just, because the show is debatable, I'll say, oh, the Chiefs have a better team because it is more top to down, more complete, because might as well just go with the other side. Vegas didn't even know. Vegas opened with the line at -2 Chiefs, and that thing switched quickly to the Eagles as the favorites. So it doesn't seem like anybody is very sure about how this game is going to go. But I know that people want to talk about surplus value and all that, and draft picks and all that, but sometimes it's surplus enjoyment, and that's what Patrick Mahomes is. Makes me enjoy the game of football.
You run in different circles than us, because I have not heard surplus value.
So surplus value now, that's now the football Twitter hot speak for nailing a middle round pick. That's what that means. Nailing a middle round. That's what we called it for years and years and years, is nailing like a fifth rounder. It's like, wow, they got a starter with a fifth rounder. Now that they call that surplus value. Now.
What is it when you get Jordan Mailata in the 7th round? That's like that's super surplus.
Exactly. But then they paid him, so now it's not surplus value, apparently, even though he's a very, very good left tackle.
Surplus value is the arm talent of front offices, is what you're telling me.
I like that. Or what do they say sometimes, like basketball drafts? Like it was like second bounce ability and stuff like that. Second jump ability for rebounds and all that. By the way, I said this before the show, was when I got the Google Doc, knowing what we were going to talk about on the show, the first few questions I saw,
just for the guess,
what's with all the NBA trades? Like, am I talking Kevin Durant? Okay, I can do this. All right. Oh, well, now the Lakers have a whole bunch of former Timberwolves on it. I can actually talk about this a little bit. So.
You badly want to give us your basketball takes. Can we get through football first? And we'll carve out a little time at the end that we easily edit it out where you can give us your basketball takes.
Perfect. I like that. Yeah, just keep it clean for all the producers. Make it easy on them.
The Jordan Mailata thing, though, does raise a question to me, because the whole notion of the Eagles is that their line play is unparalleled in this sport. And so when we have this offensive line that is A, anchored by the best center in NFL history, and B, has at right tackle Lane Johnson, who does not get or give up pressures despite the torn groin. And in general, they just have the ability to like force feed zone reads and RPOs down the throats of defenses. Like, how big of an advantage is that in this game, if you're telling me that actually, all things being equal, things are pretty equal?
Well, I mean, run game wise, that's what's nice about the Eagles, is not just that, like, the Rams when they in 2018 and they got solved with the Patriots and Vic Fangio with the Bears, and they took away the outside zone. What's really cool about the Eagles run game is they run a little bit of everything. So it's, hey, you take away this, they run a trap, they just change up the play that they run. That's what also happened. Jalen Hurts that could run the ball, but that's what is really interesting in the game, and having a great run game, as Domonique knows, it's like that is sustainable. Usually that it lifts the floor of the whole offense, and especially once it hits playoff time, when defenses are just honed in, especially what you're doing in the pass game. Every time they're in this formation, every time this guy's in the slot, we're going to tee off on this. Having a great run game that could change up how you attack a defense is always really nice. But the thing is, they're going against Steve Spagnuolo, who has 2 weeks, and he's very good, one of the best game planning defensive coordinators in NFL history, really. And now he has 2 weeks to kind of figure out this run defense. And actually, since the bye week, the Chiefs defense is actually pretty underrated. Every metric you look at, rush success, pass success rate, everything, EPA, and whatever word salad you want to use, they're like top 5, top 6 in every metric. And it's actually kind of funny that that's kind of been under the radar, that they're not like some pushovers like the typical Chiefs defense of the last few years.
Their flexibility with the running game, and versatility is probably a better word, but I think the in-game adjustments, which is where the flexibility comes into play, is something that's been really impressive for them. I particularly saw it at play in their last game against the 49ers, where it's clear that they're a very well-coached team. As weird as Nick Sirianni's antics are on the sideline, and as bad as that opening press conference is, he is the head coach of that team. And you notice that they don't wait until halftime for adjustments. And some teams don't get the adjustments ever. They put in a game plan and they just run trash all game long if the other team is on it. But this team, it seems that whatever the terminology is and the intelligence of their team is such that they can, as soon as you adjust to stop something, they are they almost have anticipated what your adjustment is going to be, and they already have an answer for it. So it's going to be an interesting coaching matchup, particularly because they have the talent in so many places that they can adjust on both sides of the ball. This makes me want to pick the Eagles now, but I'm not rooting against Patrick Mahomes because greatness.
Domonique is spending this show stitching like the jersey that a mom wears when her sons are on two different
The Mrs.
teams.
Kelsey jersey. Yeah.
It's Domonique is the Donna Kelsey.
No, she hugged Jason first, so I know who she's rooting for. On the other hand, I'm going straight for Trav.
No, the adjustment stuff can't be understated enough, because the 49ers game is one instance. Even other games where maybe the Eagles didn't have great performances throughout the game. The Colts game is one that stands to mind in the middle of the season. In the second half, like Dominique's saying, the adjustments happen throughout the game. It's in between series with this team. That's Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, who's been there for a while, is a fantastic teacher. And you can tell everyone's sound. Wayne Dickerson may have some mental lapses every once in a while, but that's where Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson being vets, it's like, oh yeah, we ran this in 2018. We ran this in 2016. We can get back to that. And Kelsey's ability, like, he's such a one-of-one player. There's been other moving centers and pulling centers and all that, but he's so fantastic at it. They can unlock other things. So if the defense wants to play this front, okay, we're going to pull him and trap him and do all those things. So that's what's amazing about this team. It's a pick your poison. And then when you do have a right answer, they find a different answer for you to solve, or question for you to solve.
But
go ahead, Pablo. I was going to say, that reminds me of a take that Domonique has in general about how championship DNA. Am I stepping on the take by citing?
I don't know. I want to hear. I don't know what take it is.
The whole idea of the sun is just, by the way, setting so beautifully on Friday.
I don't like my take already. I don't think I've ever said championship DNA.
No, but it's the idea. I remember you saying this about the Warriors to blend in the NBA again. Like, when something bad happens, you can just rely on the institutional memory of having done this so many times. And I feel like we have that, as Nate just said, with the Eagles, but also with the Chiefs offense. And that seems to, at the very least, foretell a quality of play that we should enjoy.
I would push back on saying that we have it with the Chiefs offense, because this Chiefs offense is very different personnel wise and style wise than they've been in the past. That type of, the thing that you're talking about, that institutional knowledge, where rather than having to break out your whiteboard and explain a whole new concept to 11 guys, you can say a couple of terms or call out a play and say, remember back in, I don't know, 2020, we had to do this, and then everyone understands it. For the Chiefs offense, that can't be true. Like, the offensive line is relatively new, and all the receivers are new. The running backs are rookies, and it's really that institutional knowledge goes between two guys.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking of, admittedly. Was specifically just Mahomes and Kelsey. Yeah.
Yes. It's Andy Reid going, go do something. Roll the ball out. No, you two find an answer. Yeah, there we go. Good job. Yeah, there we go. That's
you look like Two-Face.
Oh, I know the lighting. I'm looking at myself right now. As soon as
not
Pablo
you, I was
said
talking
that,
about Pablo. You don't.
I feel like I got like the blue. Going back to the original question, why I think this Chiefs team overall, even though they play a lot of rookies and everything, but is the offense has two All-Pros as well. The offensive line, I should say, has two All-Pros as well, along with Travis Kelsey, one of the best tight ends of all time, another All-Pro, of course, Mahomes, likely the MVP. And then you got the running back, which has been they've always been trying to figure out this answer. They found a balance with the running game too, with Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon as the pass pro, or pass receiver, screen, pass protection guy. But I think this team's there's more to them than just Mahomes, but that's the thing. They're rather relying on the coaching. They just rely on Mahomes go do something funny. Yeah. That's the Harpo Marx line. That's what they say. Oh my God, I sound like I'm 70 years old here, but that's what it is. Don't
worry. We're on the internet. This is exactly.
Oh yeah, right. They know the Marx. That's not Groucho. They definitely know that one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but that's what they would do. The writers for the Marx Brothers wouldn't even write a script for Harpo. They would just say, Harpo, go do something funny. And that's what it is. That's Mahomes and Travis Kelsey ad-libbing, going like, yeah, who's on first? Perfect. We got a first down. This is great. That's Abbott and Costello. I'm 90 years old. I'm 92. I'm 92. The late 80s was not when I was born. I was born in 1924.
You were born in the late 1880s. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, my name is actually, yeah, it's not even Nathan. It's definitely Nathaniel, or it's just, yeah, it's even something longer than that. I wish it was. I could think of something off the top of my head. Right
Oh gosh, Archibald, I think is a good
Archibald.
name.
Archibald.
Hold on, somebody trying to break in? Oh, they were just saying hi to you.
Oh yeah, that was me just kind of throwing the piece. Not
All right, are we at
Tyreek Hill homage.
Are
just
we
me
at
saying hi.
Archibald Tice basketball takes portion of the show yet? I think so.
Let it rip.
Are we talking Nate Archibald? There we go. We can talk about there.
Well,
yeah,
maybe that's why
Thank you.
Archibald popped
Thank
in my head.
maybe, yeah. But I hope I have something to say. Am I giving my basketball takes?
Yeah,
here?
give it.
Okay, so as a Timberwolves fan, I'm trying to figure out. I like the Mike Conley addition, but I know it could be a lot more Lakers focused. So it's kind of nice to see another version of the Minneapolis Lakers come around because they got Malik Beasley
Goodness gracious.
and
Bold
Vanderbilt.
takes.
Oh yeah,
I really regret
George
this.
Mike.
I regret
George
never
Mikan's
doing
not
this.
coming through this door. And you got those guys going, but I thought the Lakers did a good job. They were one of the worst shooting teams, obviously getting rid of Russell Westbrook, but actually getting a couple like 39-40% 3-point shooters. I actually like that. Getting Kevin Durant with the Suns makes a ton of sense. You got one of the best players in the world. He pairs well with Ayton, and kind of like as far as he can stretch the floor as a 4 and all that. Kind of like it was a win-win-win trade. It seemed to me, except unless your name's Russell Westbrook.
Well,
that's my basketball take.
I think we need the grade to take. I would say that I appreciated that you built. You went with the least interesting portion of the trade that you could. You're like, hey, let me start in Minnesota. Then we get a little bit more interesting. We'll go to LA. And let's talk about one of, if not the best scorer of all time, joining Devin Booker, who's one of the best scorers in the league right now, and DeAndre Ayton, who is disgruntled but talented, and Chris Paul, who do anything for a title at this point. You're right. I like how we climbed today. Good take. Good job.
That's good.
Archibald.
Thank you.
Way to go, Archie.
I could have used more LeBron.
Yeah.
A little more LeBron.
Did he say LeBron? I feel like you should start all basketball takes just by saying LeBron, and then end it by saying LeBron again, and then everything in the middle has nothing to do with him.
I told it backwards. I did it like Memento. Like I started with the end of the story first, and then finished with the real stuff at the end. So that's how most storytelling works, right? It's called a climax.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. While Pablo looks like Two-Face, and we're doing Christopher Nolan references at this point.
It's great.
Memento. That was too much for you. That was too much. I got to know my audience. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I'm still focused on Nate dismounting on the word climax. So.
Oh yeah, you got to know this. Yeah, this is another long-running gag that the show knows is that anything remotely related to anything that Pablo can make
is a strip club that James Harden would absolutely love going to.
Goodness. That's like day one debatable.
It really was.